Fresh and Beyond. All right, welcome back to another episode of Fresh and Buds. I am your host, Tommy Fresh, and you are all my buds once again. And this week I am joined by an amazing bud, Miss Elaine Hamontree. How are you?
Hi, I am good. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. I know we got to meet in New Jersey, and it was kind of funny because I seen you running around your Icelander cosplay, which we'll talk about in a bit. But during the calling is when I introduced myself to you because I saw above your mask the Icelander makeup, and I was like, well, that has to be Elaine. I gotta go say hi. And yeah, it was awesome meeting you there.
Yeah, I remember I saw you walking around with your big Fresh and Buds little poster thing. That was awesome. And I was like, oh, I gotta get over there, tell Tommy hi. Like the whole first day, I think we finally connected at the inn when I had taken off my cosplay and you had taken off your thing, and then we were like, all right, tomorrow we gotta do this again.
Yeah. I mean, we were both, easy to spot, I would say that day, but it was just we were ships passing in the night, for the most of the day, and then finally got to meet and chat, and you're as an incredible person as you are online, so that was it was awesome, and that's like been true for Flesh and Blood throughout this whole journey. But before we get into the show, I want to thank the patrons of my Patreon. You guys can check it out. The link is in the show notes and all that stuff. And, I do all kinds of crazy stuff over there, starting to do a little more content that, patrons can like recommend or submit. And also, I do little bonus apps called Freshies that is basically just me talking into a mic with some jazz music in the background. And it's weird, and I hope people like it. But I want to start talking to you, Elaine. First of all, I want to know a little bit about you. What games were you into prior to Flesh and Blood?
So, Flesh and Blood is like the first TCG that I've played competitively. I know how to play Magic. I've never played it competitively. I've never really had any interest to play it competitively, honestly. But I've always been super, super into board games. Like this, I'm sitting in my office, which has like a whole testing table now for Fab. But like another room in my house is just board games. There's like a big square table in the middle, bookshelves all around, board games. Play a lot of like Arkham Horror, Catan, Civilizations, Monte Kuro. So I was mainly a big like board game nerd, and played Magic casually with friends here and there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got to say the competitive side of Magic in recent years wasn't even there, so you weren't really missing much. But it's good to hear that you're jamming in Flesh and Blood now. I personally am a big board gamer as well, and I always love hearing when players come to Flesh and Blood from that side of things, which I think is so cool and almost somewhat unique about Flesh and Blood. Now, you said you know how to play Magic and you played Magic, but you weren't like a Magic the Gathering player. It sounds like you almost identify more as a board game or board gamer. Uh, but which is cool. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, 100%. The Magic side of things, just like my boyfriend grew up playing Magic with his brothers. He only has brothers, so there's him and he has two brothers, and so it's like, oh, I know how to play, we can play a game of Commander, or like that sort of situation where it's like, oh, he has Magic friends over, and it's like, oh, you guys need another person for some Commander. Yeah, I know how to play, I can play. And then I'd play sometimes with my boyfriend on, if we, most of our date nights are just like game nights, honestly. So that sort of deal. We're definitely much more of a board gamer than a. I wouldn't have ever labeled myself a Magic player. I knew how to play. I was decent, but
Well, I mean, you've definitely flipped the switch on Flesh and Blood. It seems now. What you know, hearing that one would be like, well, how did Elaine get into Flesh and Blood? And well, that's my next question: is how did you get into Flesh and Blood?
So I got into Flesh and Blood over like when the quarantine first hit. My boyfriend like went, he like bought a bunch of like magic packs. You know, we were like, we gotta entertain ourselves, get ready to be locked into our house, which at the time seemed forever. So he bought that, and then he bought two Blitz decks, one Dash Blitz and one Azalea Blitz deck. And so we had it like just in our living room, like playing. I played Azalea because I liked the way she looked better, but then we neither of us knew how to play. So like he's like, oh, I have go again because I flipped this card. And I'm like, I'm going to flip the card too. And now I have go again. He's like, that's not how it works. You can only play from Arsenal. And I was like, neither of us really knew how to play. And I'm like, what's the Arsenal? He's like, I don't know. It's a space right there on your board, you know? So, like, he stuck with it from the quarantine. I was just kind of frustrated with it at first. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. And then, like, as he started going to events at our LGS and stuff, like, I would go with him and watch. And then I was like, this actually looks really fun. I'm a pretty competitive person. Um, so watching him play, like listening to him talk, all of his friends were always over. They were always testing, and I was like, okay, I want to pick this back up because it'd been like I guess a year and a half since I had played, and I don't know what happened. One day I just wanted to pick it back up again, and I was hooked. It's like this is a really good game. There's so much strategy behind it. I think I was also like playing a lot of board games at the time, so I was just like getting really back into that competitive, more like mindset, like digging deeper into like board game strategies. And then Flesh and Blood was just kind of like that Pandora box of like, there's just never ending strategies and gameplay behind this. And I was like, this is such a good game, and it's so much fun and so challenging. So
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting that you say that, especially with the board game side of things. I feel like it scratches a lot of different itches, Flesh and Blood. Now, when it comes to the board game side of things, I always felt like the way you draw, four cards a turn or whatever feels a lot like Dominion or Ascension or a lot of those games, which I
yeah,
enjoy quite a bit, which is interesting. In those games, like the strategy is almost never ending in a way. Sometimes it has a meta of who you're playing with, which is cool as well. And I imagine that kind of hopping into Flesh and Blood was like that, but 10 times or maybe 100 times, which is really cool. And I have to say, I'm glad I didn't start on an Azalea deck or anything like that, because I probably would have quit as well, because I still don't even know what Azalea is doing. Sometimes I'm like, oh
yes.
god.
Yeah, no offense to Azalea or the, Azalea fan cult out there, but I think maybe if I would have picked up that Dash that Dash Blitz deck at first, I might have stuck with it. Not to blame Azalea for me taking like a year and a half off from the game, but it was just it was a bit much for me at first. But yeah, no, definitely what you're saying about the board game, and I the mana system in this game too. I also like loved that, which was something that kind of kept me away from Magic was the land system. It works for Magic, but it drove me crazy. Nothing drove me more crazy than being like, well, I don't have lands. I can't do anything this turn. For this, it's kind of like it, it helps you come up with like more strategy. It's just the mana system. It makes your gameplay uh, stronger, knowing like how to manage those resources. Maybe you could probably say the same about Magic, but I
Yeah.
prefer this. I prefer this person. Well, I'm just saying that because someone might come argue with me, and
Oh,
if
that's
you
okay.
wanna,
You know what? I mean, people try to argue with me all the time. I just don't listen to them. But
that's all right. If you want to argue with me, go ahead. But I just personally, I prefer this.
yes, I mean, so I understand, and I agree with you. And I played Magic a long time, and the land resource system in Magic is outdated, but it's kind of one of those things where you can't really change it at this point in that game, and it is what it is, and people love that game, and you know, when things work out, it's like can be one of the most rewarding experiences. However, the way Flesh and Blood's built, we get those rewarding experiences every game, which is I think a net positive for Flesh and Blood and all of us who enjoy it. Now, what are your competitive aspirations for the game? Obviously, with board games, you know, there are tournaments and stuff like that, but there's no real like organized play as opposed to what we're seeing here with Flesh and Blood.
Competitive aspirations for the game. It would. I mean, like dreaming as high as I can. It'd be really cool to like win a calling or something. Obviously, I think everyone who plays the game would be like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome to do." Whether I can get there or not, we'll see. Right now, I'm just taking it like baby steps. You know, I've been in this game like 3 months now. Just made 3 months, so like to day two of calling. I'll be in the calling in Vegas, like day two of calling or win a pro quest, something on a smaller level. That's kind of where my competitive aspirations are currently. I am a part of a competitive team, so that's really fun. And it's kind of even more fun to watch my team succeed rather than succeeding myself. Like I'm not going to the Pro Tour France, so I haven't been grinding hard this Pro Quest season, but I've been like supporting my team. I went with them to a few, and it's like if I meet with them, then I just concede because I'm not playing to win, but I'm hoping that they do. So it'd also be really cool to see my team win calling or something like that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned that, you know, the baby steps, but you know, being part of a team is a huge step that a lot of people don't take, and you know, myself included. I mean, I test with the buds all the time on the Discord and stuff like that, uh, but I'm not on a team per se. It'd be cool to be on a team, but you know, that is a next level, and you know, it's great to have these goals like day two of calling, win a battle hardened, you know, top eight something, win a pro quest or whatever it is. But it, you know, it seems to me like you being part of this team, and first, well, actually tell us what the team is, but it seems to me being part of this team is making that commitment to taking the baby steps and beyond.
Yeah, so my team is called Team Battle Worn. It's right now it's a Louisiana-based team. It probably won't be forever, but right now it's a Louisiana-based team because we're just people from our LGS. We like met we would meet constantly throughout the week, like just do testing, and then we'd all travel to the like to events together to ProQuest, and we're always just like, you know, talking, having that great community of like these are my friends that like I play with and that help me out and that encourage me, and I can do the same for them. And so then one day we were like, why are we not a team? Like we're already functioning as a team. Like let's just. I think the term was like, let's be more professional about this, you know. So that's what we did. We like started a team, started our own little like groups on social media, and got some jerseys going, and so it's been really great. I can't recommend it enough to people who are interested in joining a team or starting your own, like kind of like what we did. Um, just it gives you a solid group of people that you always have in the community and travel buddies. Like I went to New Jersey. I didn't have my boyfriend with me, and I won't have him with me in Vegas, which is he was kind of like, "Are you going to all these tournaments without me? I got you into this game, right?" uh, but it's like it's fine. It's in Jersey. I booked it last minute, and I was like, "Oh, I have team members that'll be there," so like that made Jersey a little less intimidating. I won't have any team members in Vegas, but you know, the Jersey kind of gave me the confidence that I needed. I don't know if I would have went to Jersey without like having a team there. I'm a little bit of an introverted person, But after going to Jersey, like I enjoyed myself so much that I know I'll be fine in Vegas without a team. And I got to meet so many awesome people that will also be in Vegas. And now the whole community, I feel like I'm friends with everyone.
Yeah, I mean that is the best thing about it, and I mean, I'll be in Vegas, so I mean I'll be there. We'll definitely hang out, and there's a lot of buds and a lot of great people going to be there. It's exciting, but it is kind of cool to kind of hear about like how the team kind of can be that kind of support as well, because when people think of a team, primarily they think, all right, these are the people that you're testing with, and that's it. But it does extend beyond that, right? You went to New Jersey and you felt that little bit of comfort knowing that you'd have team members there, which is another benefit of, I would say that is kind of an unsung benefit of a team, which is cool. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you was, I saw on Twitter over the past weekend that you tried or did teach some of your family how to play Flesh and Blood at a family gathering. This is something that amazes me because I have the toughest time convincing my family to do anything with me, let alone play Flesh and Blood. So, I how did that go? And are there any pointers you would give for the buds out there that want to teach their family members or close friends Flesh and Blood?
Okay, yes. So I got my family into it, which is kind of funny. I'd like tried to get my brothers, like two of my brothers, into it a while back, like, and I just kind of forced them to play. Like, I don't live in the same city or town as the rest of my family. They all live like an hour away from me or further. I have a very large family. I'm one of 12 kids, so
Whoa.
yeah, huge family. So anytime like someone would come up and visit me, I'm like, now you're stuck at my house. You're staying in my house. You're in my town. We're gonna play Flesh and Blood. So trapping them somewhere is the key. I'm joking. But yeah, I just try and provide as much to them as possible. Like anytime I go home, I always bring like four commoner decks on me. I used to bring blitz decks, and it's like someone was like, "Oh, commoner decks are easier," and it is a lot easier because now I just give them like if anyone in my family shows the slightest interest, I'm like, you can have it. And also, like, here's a mat, too, because I have so many mats. I'm like, here's a mat, and here's a deck, and here's like three dice from my dice collection, and you are set, you are good to go. So I just, like, provide them everything, and I bring it to all my family gatherings. And usually my boyfriend is there with me, so that's nice because it's like, if they're doing whatever, I'm like, hey, Luke, do you want to play a game right now? And then we'll just start playing around everyone, and then people will come around. They'll be like, what are you doing? It's like, you sit on his side, and then like you come sit with me, and we'll both just like instruct and teach. But so yeah, my sister's graduation party, I whipped out some commoner decks, got my family around, and then they're like, what other kind of heroes do you have? So I was telling them about all the different heroes. Like, you can choose any of them. We can make a deck for any of them. And my stepdad like really liked it, and so he was like, "This is kind of a crazy story, okay?" So he was like, "I want to play this game. Like, where should I start?" Like, and I was like, "Look, okay, I'd probably start not with the talents. Like, the original 8 heroes are a good place to start." So he's like, "Okay, what do I need to buy?" And I was like, well, they have like, blitz decks you could buy, or like you can have some of my decks if I go home, like next week, if I see you, I could bring some. He's like, no, I want to play right now. So we went to like the nearest LGS. We walked in. We're like, how much Welcome to Wraith do you have in stock? And they were like 5 boxes. And he's like, is that enough to build a deck? And I was like, that's definitely enough to build a deck. So
Oh
then
my,
he's like, I will buy all of it. Okay,
oh
so
my God.
we completely bought all the Welcome to Wraith boxes in this store. And then we went home, we cracked it all, which was also really fun. Got to crack a bunch of packs with my 5 boxes with my family. That was crazy. um, didn't pull anything like too insane, but we did get like 3 E strikes, so that's
Ooh.
something. Yeah. And so then we just put together like decks for each of the heroes out of those Welcome to Wraith box. That was cool too. Like they got to like build the decks. It's not a viable option for everyone because, like I
Mm.
said, it was kind of a little bit of a crazy story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not expecting this to happen when I whipped out commoner decks at my sister's graduation. So then everyone was just like interested in playing, and my little nephews right now are like addicted to Pokemon.
Hmm.
And they're a little too young to play, but they're also like really now they're like really interested in it too. Which I'm like, some of the artwork here it might be a little much, but I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm like, here are these like commoner cards with tame artwork, and they just like don't actually know how to play battle each other out like they would in Pokemon. So I would say, yeah, play in front of them. If you have someone else you can play with, just play in front of them. People will be interested if you're just like doing stuff. There's been a few times where I just like take out my deck and I'm like working on my deck. I have air quotations. I know this is sound, but like working on my deck.
Yeah.
So then my family's like, what are you doing? But I think they also were interested because I'm on this podcast right now and I was recently on 2 others. And then I was in New Jersey and I'm going to Las Vegas and they're like, who are you? Who are you now? What are you doing? Like, what's going on, Elaine?
Yeah, I mean that will definitely pique some interest. So what I'm going to take from that is start playing in front of my family and have a small little bit of trickery and
Yes.
and persuasion, which which will work. But speaking of New Jersey, your cosplay, Icelander was awesome. I know that you were just on, friend of the show, but Big Bud Flake's Instant Speed podcast with a bunch of other cosplayers, which was awesome. Just a meeting of the minds, which was cool. Uh, could you tell us a little bit? I just briefly tell us how crazy it was that you got that cosplay together for Jersey.
Yeah, so that cosplay was really crazy to get together. Like I said, I'd been planning it sort of kind of since I started playing the game because I was just captivated by Icelander's artwork. But then I decided I wasn't going to do it because I decided I wasn't going to New Jersey. And then I had 2 days to prepare for New Jersey. So I just like crammed, stayed up all night, made that cosplay from mainly just stuff I had around the house, which was pretty crazy. But the face makeup was like, I think that was like my favorite part of the cosplay. The rest of it was just kind of like, all right, this is what we have to work with. This is good enough. Definitely not my proudest work, but I was happy with it for 2 days and stuff around my house. But the face makeup was like where I actually got to put in a lot of the detail, and I ended up wearing that cosplay Friday and Saturday, and the makeup I had to wake up at like 5 a.m. both mornings just to put on the makeup because it took like 2 hours, 2.5 hours just
Oh my
to
god!
just
And
yeah,
that's just by yourself. You threw that on.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, the talent is there, and it was incredible, and you were very visible even with the masks on. Across many tables at the calling. I was like, oh, there's Lane with the eyes, and I was like, it looks great. Let's go talk to her. But now, do you have any plans for a cosplay in Vegas? I know we're only like a week and a half out right now.
I do. I actually just finished my cosplay
Ooh.
today ahead of time. I will probably be adding like more details and keep nitpicking at it until Vegas since I did finish way more in advance than I expected to. So I will be in cosplay for Vegas. I will go ahead and say that it is the Icelander Uprising adult cosplay. So
Ooh.
I'm very excited about that. Kind of, I was like, well, I already did Icelander. Now they're actually making her like a CC hero. So I went ahead and did it for Vegas. I'm really excited to be walking around in that in Vegas as well. So
Well, we'll all know where to find you in
yeah.
Vegas. It should be awesome. I can't wait to see it. Now, we recently had Melody on, who is just a ball of joy and just such a great addition to the community. Um, and I wanted to talk about she's your new partner in crime, right?
Yeah, Melody, and we've got quite a few things in the work. Masterminds together. Yeah, Melody, we met like on Twitter, I think, as most people meet around here. And we were kind of like funnily and like funnily, I don't know if that's a word. We were kind of like stuck together almost because as from Asgogan Gaming had like he made a video about getting into content creation, and I commented on it and was like, "Oh, I've been thinking about doing this myself." And then Melody commented back and was like, "You know, she's like the nicest, most encouraging person you've ever met. She's like, do it, Elaine. Yes, yes, yes." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then Hayden Dale commented and was like, "Do something together." And so then Melody and I talked like for the first time one on one, like right after that. She like messaged me. She's like, "Are we gonna do something together?" I'm like, "I'm down to like do something together. Let's meet on Discord and like play some TTS games." So we met on TTS and ended up like spending like an hour and a half not playing TTS and just talking and being like, okay, we just like talked about our vision for content and the roles we want to play in the Flesh and Blood community, and they were very much exactly the same. So then we were just decided, all right, let's go all in, um, do this together because two's better than one. And Melody is a fantastic person and becoming a great friend. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. And the YouTube channel is called Pitch Perfect.
yes, Pitch Perfect Flesh and Blood podcast. So
Ooh. Do you guys have a timeline on the first episode? Is just that's still all in the works? I know you guys just named it
yeah,
via a contest on Twitter.
so we should be filming this week. We last week, I went to New Jersey, right in the middle of us naming it, and then Melody ended up having to do some stuff for work. So
Hmm.
life happens, but that we've been working constantly, just not filming constantly. But we are filming, so that should be out in hopefully the next week and a half. I want to say, if everything, that's like I'm giving us a few days leeway because things keep happening.
It's coming, and you know it's that's all that matters, that it is coming, and and I'm sure, as you know, I'm sure that Arsenal Pass has to deal with it. You guys are in very different time zones, and I've recorded with people in different time zones too. It's tough, so it is coming. We're all very excited about it, and I will be sure to drop all that information in the show notes. But I want to do the fresh faves. This is a little segment where I ask you a few quick fire questions about some of your favorites in Flesh and Blood. And yeah, are you ready? All right. Who is your favorite hero?
Corinthia.
Ooh, that's a
I
good
love.
answer.
No, I loved. Dorinthia was like after the Azalea incident. Dorinthia is what actually the hero who actually hooked me onto the game and got me addicted. And the hero I learned with. I built my first CC deck, which I never played with because Starvo. Um, but one day I hope to play with her again, and I still play her for fun at home or take her to local armories when I just want to relax. But I love Dorinthia. Big
Nice.
warrior.
And I gotta say, the Azalea incident sounds like an amazing band name.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Your favorite weapon?
My favorite weapon, I really like playing with the sabers, but I think I have to give credit where credit is due and say Rosetta Thorn.
Mm,
That weapon's brilliant. It's so good.
it's very good, but
Yeah.
why isn't it elemental?
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
It's super powerful. I mean the sabers are awesome too. Now favorite equipment.
I really like. See, I'm on a war. This is showing my true colors as a warrior player because Valiant Dynamo is my favorite equipment to play with. It puts in so much work and it helps like overcome those breakpoints multiple times throughout the game, but just blocking for one multiple times throughout the game. I love Valiant Dynamo.
Oh yeah, I played a little bit of Dynamo in Axe's Dory, and I think it could easily block 7 points of damage in a game, which is incredible.
Yes. So good.
Now, your favorite non-hero, non-weapon, non-equipment card?
I would say, the warrior attack reaction route.
I
Because
sure do.
that one's weird. It's a weird interaction. I don't think any other cards in the game do exactly what that card does. Because it's like, oh, if you blocked, guess what? You're no longer blocking, and that's kind of fun. Most of the time when I play it against people who aren't familiar with warrior, they're like, What do you mean that goes back to my hand? Haha. I feel like there's like no other card that really does that I can think of off the top of my head. So I think it's a fun little like interaction with the game mechanics.
Yeah, it sure is, and it's one of those cards. It's always in almost any list for like Dorinthia anyway. You look at and it's like, oh, one of route. There's one route in there, and it's
Yep.
just for that little trickery, which I love. I love in deck building. So that was the fresh faves. Now I want to get to our main topic here, and we here this week. This is we're recording June 1st. It'll be out June 2nd. We are the week before, or a couple days actually before we start to get Uprising spoilers. Which you have one, which is very exciting. I'm sure you're stoked. I won't ask you what it is on air, or I won't ask off air either. I don't want to get anybody.
On air.
I don't want to get anybody in trouble, unless no, I'm kidding. But it's very exciting. Uprising's looking to be like one of the craziest sets, and I mean, sure, we've only had a few sets, but like this one is going to be so awesome. I actually just wrote an article about how it's going to change the way we view limited in Flesh and Blood, and I am so pumped for it. Now, I thought it'd be fun to do some predictions about Uprising, and then kind of like the meta, and then kind of just some general predictions in general. I want to start with the Uprising predictions. I'm going to give my predictions for Uprising, and then I want you to give your predictions for Uprising. Does that sound cool?
Do it.
Let's do it. Now, my first prediction, and I'm still on this goddamn train with Flake, that there is still a fourth hero. But my idea here is it is a Majestic that you can draft, but you kind of have to draft it like you would a Majestic weapon, right? It's kind of just gravy if you get it. Maybe it's not even good if you draft it, but it will be there, and maybe it can play both Ice and Draconic. And I put in the notes here Shiana, which would be kind of cool. What do you think about that, Elaine?
Yeah, I think the fourth hero will be a surprise Ice Draconic Runeblade. Obviously, I'm joking.
No, 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 no.
That's a joke. But no, I don't think there will be a fourth hero. But I do agree that if there is a surprise fourth hero, I think it'll be like Shiana. Like I've been saying that if there's, I'm not predicting there will be one, but if there were one, like Shiana, I think would surprise me the least for her to just randomly be in there. I think
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
She's mentioned in the lore and what have you. So, I'm planting my fourth hero flag still here at the eve of spoilers. This could very well be debunked or proven by the time you're listening to this. And, if it is either or, when you listen to this, you can reach out and yell at me or say, good job. My next prediction, and I'm looking down at your predictions, and this one kind of clashes with yours. My prediction is the Fabled will be a dragon.
Clash with my prediction. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but
My my only reason for saying this, and I don't know if it is based on anything. I know that Steve Argyle is doing the Fabled art, and I don't know. I think he just probably do a really cool Fabled dragon.
I mean, I agree. Like, you already did more research than I did for my predictions. My predictions were all just like, this would be cool. I'd like to see this, you know?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I did more research. This is all strict speculation. I think looking down at yours, you're probably a little more, I guess, probably on the nose. But I just want to see a fabled dragon. Though it'd be weird if it was really playable, right? We don't want like
Yeah.
super playable dragons, which would be interesting. My next prediction for Uprising will be that Phi, the presumably draconic ninja, will be the strongest classic constructed hero to come out of Uprising. What do you think about that?
I also have a prediction that contradicts with this,
Ooh.
although I wouldn't surprise me if I'm wrong and you're right. This is fun. Like, I feel like I'm gonna have to, once Uprising comes out and gets rolling, we're gonna have to like it will I have already like battled it out just by it happening naturally. But like see who's right, you know?
Oh yeah,
Uh,
we'll definitely revisit it. And then my last prediction for Uprising specifically is I think we've seen from what they showed in those articles about Icelander. I think we've seen the best ice cards that we're going to get out of this set because there already is a ton of ice support. And if we keep getting like really great ice stuff, it's going to be a little overwhelming. Um, that could be their plan, to kind of like stop all the aggro that's been running around for the past year. But I think, and while those cards are very good, I think we won't see anything better than those cards.
I could agree with that. That we might we'll see more ice cards, but not any better ice cards than what we've already seen.
Mm-hmm.
But but we'll see because I have a feeling that some of these draconic cards are just gonna like melt our minds away and be really good. So we might need a better ice card.
Are you giving
We'll
us
see.
a hint to your spoiler card, Elaine? No.
No, I am not. Let's go on record and say.
Now, what are your predictions?
All right. So my prediction is that I think the Fabled will be a Mount Volcor,
Ooh.
not a dragon. But we'll
That's-
see because I just think it'll be like a location, or I have no proof. I just think it'd be cool for it to be a location, and that location be Mount Volcor.
I mean, you're not far off. We've had two landmarks um, in the past two booster draft sets with Solana and Corsham,
Yeah.
and you're probably right, but and you're probably definitely not far off because like we're having all these volcanoes and stuff. We should probably get like a really cool volcano fabled.
Dragons are also really cool, though. We can't forget that. So,
Yeah, we can't discount the dragons. They are
right.
cool, but volcanoes are also very cool.
Both are cool. Um, so prediction number two is that I think we're gonna start to see with these new cards and new heroes like a lot more graveyard interactions come about within like the mechanics of the game. I think that'd be like cool and like we have like a few things right now that interact with graveyard, but we don't. I think we'll start to see like more consistent interactions with the graveyard throughout these heroes, which I don't know how it will work, but there's been talk about the ashes and dragons,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe something with the graveyard rising things from the dead, from the ashes. This is where I'm getting this from. We're playing all fives here, so.
Yeah, weird. I mean, well, I don't think the vibes are too far off. And we saw Thaw, which does something out of the
Hmm.
graveyard, and it is kind of the last true designs, like true basic design space that Flesh and Blood hasn't fully explored yet. So
Yeah.
I'm sure the Phoenix Ash kind of nonsense is going to be there. So I think that's a great prediction.
I said for my third prediction that Dromai will be the strongest hero out of Uprising. Now, yeah, he's doing thumbs down. You can't see him, but he
Yeah.
just thumbs down me over here. Uh, like fine. Although I love Icelander, I've done her cosplays and stuff, and I apologize to her. But Dromai, I think Illusionist will be pretty powerful here. Illusionist just has like they have so much access to cool mechanics and things. I think she'll be really good. We'll see. That's
I'm
you
hoping
disagree.
not. No, I mean it's definitely possible. I feel like it from what we know, which is not much. Dromai will be kind of the antithesis of Prism in a way, kind of like these big beefy dragons instead of like a ton of little like auras
Angel.
and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's probably you know what she's going to do. I don't know if that's going to be a strong enough thing to do, but I also think uh, people are going to make it work one way or another because there's also a lot of great illusionist like non-talented stuff out there already. So
Yeah.
I would imagine one of us will be right unless Icelander is
Yeah,
is
I
the
didn't
best
Spice
one.
It's the best one, and then neither of us are right. We'll see. Um, so my fourth prediction is not really anything crazy. It's just that I think Uprising will like change the way we play and think about Flesh and Blood. Like I'm really expecting it to blow my mind, and even I've got high expectations for this shot. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
us, by the way. I fully expect them to live up to the hype of my expectations and like add some cool game mechanics we haven't seen yet, and I'm expecting my mind to be blown. Like they're gonna say, "Oh, this is how this works now," and I'm gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, so many possibilities!" Like, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I disagree with you. I think this is going to be pretty insane.
yeah,
I'm so excited to see how the drafting works too. I'm such a draft junkie, and then on top of that, like I might actually play a ninja hero. And like,
yeah,
so.
right. I didn't even okay, so I didn't start playing Flesh and Blood until like after Everfest came out. So
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I've been here 3 months. But my boyfriend's been around since uh Monarch, I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
but he's like started playing before Monarch, but like Monarch was his first set release, and he's like, I just remember when Monarch came out and they had like talents, and everyone was like, "What's going on here? Like, how is this gonna work?" And then I've heard the same kind of thing like with like after the Ira decks when you got your first thing, and you're like, "What do you mean? There's yellow, red, and blue cards? Like, there's cycles here? What's going on?" Like, I'm expecting this kind of reaction from Uprising. I mean, being like, "What do you mean?
Oh,
Work? What's going on?"
yeah. I mean, oh God, you're not wrong at all. I mean, this is going to be mind blowing. You hear
Right. I'm
that,
already like
LSS?
dragons, volcanoes, like what's
Yeah,
happening? And
this is gonna be
I don't
so.
even know anything yet. Like
Yeah. All right, let's move to some classic constructed meta predictions. Since we both seem to really love classic constructed quite a bit, my first prediction is well, because as it sits now, Chain will hit Living Legend this upcoming weekend. He's like 12 points away. So that would mean the Starvo and Chain are gone. So these are based on that assumption. It would be a miracle if Chain doesn't hit. First prediction: Briar will be the deck to beat. I think Runeblades are going to do Runeblade things.
it, especially that ice draconic rune blade coming out, right? That fourth mirror.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that note. I was just skipping over it because we do not need more Runeblades in this game right now. And
Hmm.
sorry to all the Viscerai mains out there. Love you guys, but let's chill. Let's chill a little bit. Um, Briar will be the deck to beat. I think Briar's well positioned as it is. Um, and aggro just seems to be the kind of always front runner right in the beginning, especially. And then I think Prism is going to get kept in check by a lot of like Fi running around. I think people will be back on Katsu and stuff like that. So I think Prism is going to have a tough time running into a lot of the meta. But if that happens, Oldham's going to come around, which also means Prism will come back around. It's like this weird kind of
Right,
dance.
right.
And then my girl Levia's, this is a new term I'm using, Leviability is dependent on the prevalence of Icelander, which I'm sure there's going to be a lot, and the different icy builds of Oldham. I think ice is bad news bears for Levia. Any kind of disruption, all of a sudden you're taking a ton of blood debt. It's very sad to me, but I'm hoping just Icelander sucks or something. But it's outlook not so good. And then my last meta prediction is Dromai. Dromai will be low tier.
You're really hating on Dromai over here.
I just want all illusionists gone. I don't know. I mean,
I understand. I understand.
Oh, my thing is, I think a lot of people will love Dromai. I think Dromai will be kind of like a Levia, Azalea, kind of. People are going to be really good with her, and people are going to be really dedicated to her. But that doesn't mean she's going to be the best. But she can eke out wins, I think, if people really build her right. Or it could be totally wrong. What are your thoughts, Elaine?
But she's supposed to have the dragon, so I think she's gonna be doing crazy things.
I think it's a trap. I think the dragons are a trap because people love dragons. They're gonna be like, I want to play all the dragons, and then they're like, wait a second, this
dragons
isn't.
aren't even good.
Yeah, they're not good.
All right, so I got some predictions also. I think that Ice Lexi will be one of the top decks with all the new ice support we're going to be getting. And like she's already on the rise. And we are getting Chain out of here. We're getting Starbow out of here. And, I don't know about everyone else, but I love Yuki. She's fantastic. Great
Amazing.
player. But from the two pro quests I went to, I got slapped around by her deck. Okay, she tweeted and she's like, "Oh, I hope you like crush it at your pro quest." And I went to tweet back and be like, "I would if everyone didn't have your deck." Like, so just another testament to how fantastic of a player she is because that deck is just insane, and I think it's only going to get better with Uprising coming out in a ice support. So I think Ice Lexi will continue to be on the rise for a top deck. And
Definitely.
then we got Dromai will be better than Prism, is what I'm gonna say here. Um, we'll see. That's just like I said, playing all the vibes because she's got dragons and Prism doesn't have dragons.
I do hope you're right because maybe all of this hatred towards Dromai is coming from my deep hatred for Prism. So maybe I will be so much happier if Dromai is like becomes the illusionist everybody wants to play and like Prism is just left in the dust a bit. So I can get behind that.
She's basically just like emo Prism, so I'm behind her already. All right, then we got I got Icelander will be the deck to beat here, which kind of contradicts what I said earlier about Dromai being the strongest hero out of. But I'm covering all my bases. I'm joking. I just think that Icelander will be pretty good. I think we're gonna need a very. Well, here's the thing: is that Oldham annoys me to play against. To all you Oldham players out there, they're all great people. I've never met someone I didn't like who played Oldham, but I mean, come on, stop giving me frostbites now. Kano, I hate playing against Kano also. So like Icelander just seems like Oldham and Kano had a child, and that sounds awful to me. Like to play against. So I think that'll be a deck to beat. At least for me, that'll be the deck to beat. I don't know about everyone else, but that'll be my deck to beat.
Actually, I if Icelander's the best deck in the format, I think the format's probably in a good spot, which sounds weird. It means it's kind of like a little grindier. People are, it's not gonna just be jam and go again attacks at people. I think maybe go tall, maybe Levi can survive in that meadow. I don't know, but
maybe. Well, then we got okay. So then that kind of leads into my next, which is just that this meta, although I think it'll be dominated by Uprising Heroes because they're gonna have dragons and everyone's gonna want to play with dragons. I don't think it'll feel as like rock paper scissors as the meta feels right now.
Hmm.
If that is a term that makes sense. I think I've heard people say that before, so I hope that makes sense. But
It does. Yeah.
okay, awesome. Yeah, I think it'll be. I'm hoping it'll be like you said, a more grindy meta, not just like, well, this beats this, so this beats this, so bring this if there will be more of this, type of deal. I think it'll be more even. It'll be ice and dragons running around everywhere, running rampant, just shooting fire and ice back at each other.
I
That's my hopes.
I feel like, I mean, and I do agree with this, and I think maybe the meta will be the first. I don't know if it's the first, but one of the first metas where your sideboard is going to be the make or break for the tournament, right? You have to really hone in on what is going to be the best in most scenarios, which is going to be, I think, very hard to do, which is exciting to see. Now we have some predictions for the future of the game. We love this game a lot, and we want the game to keep doing well, and I don't think it's going to slow down. So it would be fun to make some predictions about what is coming down the road. My first prediction is the shadow support is coming.
Hang in there, Levia. The shadow support's coming.
I know. It's like, hurry, it's like, I'm dying down here, and which it's almost like perfect, right? So Chain's going to be a living legend. The shadow support's coming, so you don't have to worry about making Chain stronger. They'll probably print the new Chain since Seeds of Agony's coming off suspended. Whatever. Just give us a little bit of something, just something, and I do think it's coming. And because especially when Everfest didn't have talents, everybody was like, okay, well, the next one is going to have to have the talents, right? So, now James White also mentioned that I think all the original heroes are going to get the star of the show treatment, the Starvo treatment. I think the next one is going to be Rhinar. And
Okay.
I have no reason to think that other than we haven't really got any brute stuff in a hot minute. So
Yeah, Brute and Shadow. You're hoping Leviat takes off from Rhino's Starvo treatment.
yeah,
um, but no, Brute has not gotten anything in a while. Poor Brute.
yeah. And the classic battles product was cool, and I play the pack call card out of there, but I don't think many people are playing anything else. But
Yeah, it was cool. I played like me and my boyfriend played 4 games. I beat him all 4 times. Sorry,
mhm.
shout out Luke. He's great. Uh, but yeah, we played and it was fun. But playing it, I was like, okay, this is the deck to teach people how to play the game. And actually, there was a 9-year-old at my armory yesterday, and he was just playing that. Like he joined the armory, but he was playing just the deck from the classic
Oh,
battles. Oh, it was so cute. I loved. He was my round 1 pairing, and
did you smash
uh,
them?
well, no, no, I kept it close and like a lot. Like he would, he'd block with things during the reaction, and I'd be like, all right, that's not a reaction, but like it's fine. I was being nice.
Yeah,
So
you
I wasn't
gotta.
right. I was on Kasai, so I wasn't going into the oh, that actually pumps my Centauri, so now you take 3 instead of 2. I wasn't doing all that to him, but he was like, it was so cute. I loved playing against him. So I got him down to like he was at 2 life and I was at 3, and then I was like, all right, sorry, kid, I have to kill you now. I can't not move on to the next round. Sorry, it's a
Yeah.
winner box.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah,
Forgot about that.
yeah.
Now,
Right.
yeah, that's awesome. To get some young blood in there playing the game, and it's kind of cool to see a success story for the classic battles, I would say. And yeah, but another prediction of mine: the game will grow big time in the next 3 years. I don't think this is a crazy prediction. I think we're on the right track. Uprising is probably going to be huge. whatever else they got, coming down the pipes is going to be also huge. Um, the only thing they could do is screw up now, and hopefully they don't do that. And
Yeah.
you'll be, in 2 years you'll be back on the podcast, and everything will be great. And I think that's going to happen. So, um, I don't think we disagree on this one.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think LSS is great. They're doing a great job. We're Fab, I going through growing pains, which is natural. Nothing wrong with that. And I think, like, I agree. We're gonna see some big time growth in the next 3 years as we just keep. It's already growing so fast. Every day there's new players at my LGS. Like, it's so much fun, and I can't wait to see it keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, be back in 2 years to check out all these predictions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we'll be back, and I'll have to save this document somewhere, and
Yeah.
um, and then my final prediction for the future is I think we're gonna finally get a bigger focus on draft. I don't think we're gonna get another gap like we've had with in between Tales of Aria and Uprising. This is like the longest drought for me. I live and breathe limited, and I just hope we don't have to wait that long for the next one. I hope we get another one this year, and they've made the commitment to have the split format at the Pro Tour in France, and yeah, they just need to stay the course on draft sets. I know it's hard when you have a small team to design both for constructed and draft, and limited, I guess is a better way to put it. So, but I think where it's going to get into a more consistent rhythm for limited.
With that and like the road to Nats,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of road to Nats will be draft, which
Yep.
is really cool. So we're already seeing kind of like some push in the draft direction. It, obviously, it's gonna be this draftable set has stuff to do with that, but I agree that it'll just keep going towards draft, and I hope it does because I've only drafted a few times, but it is a very fun way to experience the heroes and experience the games. I really like it.
Best way to play the game. I will say it till I'm blue in the face. It's the best way if you want to have fun and also really challenge yourself. So, what are your predictions, Elaine, for the future of this game?
All right, I want to talk about PVE because I feel like this is not talked about enough. Which I guess there's nothing to really talk about right now because it doesn't really exist yet. We just know it's coming. But I think that PVE is going to be really cool. I think it'll help with the growth in the next 3 years. I think it'll bring a lot of new players to the game. Once again, I'm expecting it to be like, whoa, blow my mind, face melting awesomeness. I think it'll like change a lot about just like the community of Flesh and Blood in a good way. And I'm really excited, coming from like the board game history, I think PVE would be really cool. And teaching my brothers how to play at my sister's graduation, they're all like big D&D players. So I'm like, yeah, you have to learn this now so that when PVE comes out, you'll be ready, right? Because there's going to be a PVE version. It's going to be awesome. I'm like totally selling it to everyone. I don't even know anything about it. I just have all my faith in LSS, and I think PVE will be. I'm excited for it. Um,
Oh yeah, it's going to be so much fun. I think even just teaching people the game, it will be like
yeah,
that alone will be the I guess the real pinnacle of PVE.
right. So I guess my prediction isn't that PVE is coming because we know it is, but that it will blow our minds and bring a lot of new people into the game. Um, yeah, so we kind of talked about the Starvo treatment, so that was one of mine. So we're going to see the 8 original heroes reprinted as talented, awesome, amazing heroes, which I'll be really excited for. I can't wait to see what talent Dorinthia gets with the Starvo treatment. Hope she gets something cool.
Shadow. No, no.
Yeah, Shadow. Yeah, well, if the Shadow support actually is coming, then yeah, give me a Shadow Dorinthia. I'll play
That'd be
it.
neat.
Yeah. Um, I really think like a mech warrior would be cool, which I don't know if they're gonna like combine classes like that, but uh, I know Red Zone Rogue kind of talked about this, believe it was on the Living Legends podcast, but like the that Blade Runner card, it looks like almost like a mechanologist card, but it's a
Mm.
hero card, a warrior card. So I think that'd be really cool. Um, but I think the next supplemental set, which maybe it's a little bold in my predictions to say the next supplemental set, but that's my prediction, will be a like pure talent support, just talent cards. No non-talent cards, just all talent support.
Here's a
So
question: do you think it will be class talent cards or just the talents, like just shadow, just light, just draconic, just ice, earth, lightning, or will they give the you know
yeah, like
elemental rune blade, you know?
only yeah, even only Roomblade shadow support, even though Chain's gone. No, Brute Chat. I'm just messing with your Levi. I think it'd be cool to see like class talent support.
Mm.
I honestly, I don't know. I didn't think about it that much in my prediction.
No, I mean it'd be interesting. I'm sure they would give the talent support, but the only issue I guess I see with that is, it's a supplemental set that won't support anything for, Rhinar and Dorinthia, and, I mean, sure, down the road it will, but people get a little butthurt when their favorite
Yeah,
hero isn't supported.
we got those like people who just won't give up on their on their no, don't give up on your main heroes. I believe the support is coming. But I think it'd be cool to see like a talent support supplemental set. But it could have problems, and I do see that being a problem. Maybe it'd be cool if they did like a supplemental talent support, and then they like also release like the original 8 heroes with talents in that set.
That would be a good solution to that, actually. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. All right. Fourth is that we will get a broken warrior major starvo treatment. Like my idea is that we'll get Minerva as a playable hero, but she'll have like both light and shadow because she was like taken by that necromancer guy. So then she'll just come back with like both of them. That'd be insane.
That'd be
Just
cool.
yeah, a light shadow warrior just coming in here, wrecking everything up, beating everyone. I would love it. I'd love to see it.
Warrior needs like a non-gimmicky game plan to win, right? Dory Axes I don't think is gimmicky. I think that deck's good, but like just not really all there. But you look at like regular Dorinthia, it's like, oh, attack reaction, like trap card, trap card, trap card, and um, and then you look at like Saber's Bolton. It's just like, oh, I'm just gonna one turn kill you. I think we need to see a warrior that, like, if a warrior is truly broken, the regular game plan is gonna have to be good every
Right.
turn.
Warrior, it's like a little too predictable to
Mm-hmm.
play against. Like as a warrior player, I can tell when people like have played against a warrior and not before, because sometimes people like block and I'm like, okay, you've never played against a warrior, because I'm gonna pump my attack value a billion and punish you for blocking. It's like I agree with that, but I'd like to see it because I love the way it. I think it's like it's all about like guessing. You gotta have a poker face if you're gonna
Yeah.
play warrior, and that's why I enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say that's true. I anecdotally, the first event I played against the Dorinthia, I got smashed because I didn't know what I was
Mhm.
doing, and then flash forward to not this ProQuest season, but the one before that, I match up against my second Dorinthia ever outside of Blitz, and I was like, oh, now, like, I've trained and now I know exactly what you're up to, and I it was an easier matchup for sure. So I was like,
Yeah,
which is a shame. And I it's almost like I wonder if down the road like 2 years from now, like Dorinthia never hits the living legend, and there's tons of new players, and people just forgot about her, and you just show up to an event, and people don't know how to block.
Well, it's one of those things that like knowing your matchup is like literally half, if not more, of the game. Like you got to know your matchups going into any tournament, and it's it's kind of like how Kano went in and did so well at the
Mm.
Pro Tour. It's like no one was expecting it. So if I went into a calling and no one there had played against a warrior before, I could, I could take the whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that just like won't happen.
yeah. Well, maybe one day we'll see that, and the poker face thing is huge for that one. I have a poker face when I play with Levia. Basically, I have to show them that they don't know that I'm gonna kill myself with blood debt the next turn, and it's just, I gotta look
Right.
as
You don't know that you're not gonna banish like an attack.
yeah,
Right?
um, which is like, and then you have to like, I mean, which is like true. Like you have to be like, well, I'm gonna do the most I can, and you have to you gotta hope they don't realize that, you know,
Yeah,
that I'm about to
yeah.
die.
I don't get it. My boyfriend, he plays like Levia. He likes playing her and like Commoner a lot. He's like, it's just such a rush. And you being like, oh, I'm staring death like right in the face right now. I kill him or I'm just gonna die. And I'm like, I can't relate to loving that rush. But Levia players are serious, so
Yeah, well, we have a lot of self hatred, and it's just it, and we're all naturally gamblers, I think, and yeah, it's fun. It is
I can
fun.
respect it more than like the Azalea love. I get a little bit more than that.
Oh wow, you heard it here first, buds. Elaine does not respect Azalea Sin. If you play Azalea, you are getting no respect from Elaine Hamontree. Clip it.
I just can't. I can relate a little bit more to the Levia players in the world, I think, than the Azalea players. I just don't understand. If you play Azalea and you love her so much, please like challenge me. Like we teach me the ways. I'm willing to join. I just don't get it. I played an Azalea player at the calling. I can't remember his name, but you know we sat down, we started playing, and I'm like, "Is your entire deck altars?" He's like, "Well, yeah, when you play the worst, you gotta look the best." I was like, "Wow, I love the attitude. I do see. I do respect it. I do because I respect that."
At the calling in Jersey myself, I did play against Azalea round one, who wiped the floor with me. And round two, I played the mirror match, Levia against Levia. I got more unlucky, and my opponent won. And then round three, I played Katsu. So I was really scraping the bottom of the barrel at that calling, and I guess I could be happy that I didn't run into the Chains and Starvos of the world. It was like we were all commiserating in our bad hero life. Though
Well,
Katsu's kind of good, but whatever.
I like no, this is to no hate to the Azalea player or anyone, but I had to concede to do like the cosplay contest at the calling, and so my rank like
Oh no.
dropped right because of my concession. When I came back, I was playing that Azalea player, and then I sat down. I was on Starvo, so he's like, I'm like, what hero are you on? He's like, Azalea. I'm like, I'm on Starvo, and like, I just remember everyone around, like the people in the table next to me and the people at my table, they all just like turned. They were like, "There's a Starvo over here."
Oh,
They're like, "What is a star?" And I look over and like they're on like I'm playing against Azalea. The match next to me was like Levia and Dorinthia, and they're all like, "What are you doing over here? Like, take that." Get out of here! You're not supposed to be at these tables. And
yeah,
I was like, well, I just
yeah.
conceded 2 rounds, so but
Yeah.
it was fun. It made me laugh. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring my dirty Starvo over here, ruin the fun.
I don't know if you watched Futurama ever, but it kind of reminds me of like the underground New York, the old New York. It's like all mutants and sewer
Yeah.
people. It's like, that's what the Levia Azalea bracket. That's what that is. It's
Right.
like,
They were all like, "What do you? How did you get here? How did like what is the Starvo doing over here?" And I
you
was
look
like,
too
"Oh,
normal. Get out of here.
yeah,
But
get out of here."
but all right, Elaine. Well, this was just an absolute pleasure. I'm so glad you came on. You are a rising star in the flesh and blood community, and we're very happy to have you. Right now, I would please ask that you plug anything that you'd like to plug.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at ehamontree. It's just E, and then my last name is Ham on Tree. I've said it a billion times, but it's just like think like bacon on bush, pork on shrubbery. That's always what I tell people. It's just three words together, ham on tree. Um, and then yeah, YouTube. Be on the lookout for the Pitch Perfect Flesh and Blood podcast with me and Melody Likes, who's also on Twitter. So that because that should be getting up and running soon, and we have a lot of exciting things planned and coming for you guys.
Awesome. Thank you. All that will be in the show notes. All of you can find me still at FreshBudsPod on Twitter. You can email the show, freshbudspod@gmail.com. Join the Discord, the Buds. It's there's no paywall behind, or it's not behind a paywall or anything. Got a lot of great folks in there. Elaine's in there, and we're always chatting about all kinds of stuff, but, a lot of flesh and blood and even some nonsenses sometimes.
The
And
food
um,
court.
the
The
food,
food. Yeah, the food's my favorite. I love just scrolling through it.
oh yeah, we post a lot. We all eat a lot, and and we post pictures of it. So come on in there; it's a lot of fun. And yeah, and also I started writing some articles for Owl Central Games, which is a local game store in Central Pennsylvania. Great people over there. Check it out. I wrote one last week about kind of being an underdog, and this week, when you probably are listening to this, a new one on Uprising, changing the limited landscape, will be out. So, and I've enjoyed flexing that writing muscle that I haven't used since high school, and it's been fun. Now, Elaine, I usually like to end the show with talking about food, but I recently learned that you are a mixologist, so I want to talk a little bit about booze instead.
All right.
I I am also in the liquor industry, or I guess beer and liquor industry, and I love a good cocktail. What is your desert island cocktail? What are you drinking every day and not getting tired of it?
Oh, okay. My go-to cocktail is just a gin martini. I'm a very simple gal. However, my favorite cocktail that I could have until the end of time. Okay, so there's this cocktail at the one of the bars that I worked with, Mid Tap in Baton Rouge. Shout out! It's called the Malabar Mojito, and it is a mojito, but it is made with rum and also has coconut lemongrass sake in it, and it is my
Ooh,
favorite. I love coconut, okay, and it's just chef's kiss. It's so good. Coconut
oh,
lemongrass sake spiked mojito.
that
My favorite.
sounds so good.
It's so good.
I've been
Yeah.
trying not to drink so much, but that might change tonight. And now a question on the gin martini. Dirty?
Yeah. Yeah, dirty.
Okay, good, good.
Shaken, not stirred.
Shaken, not stirred. Now, I mean, I gotta add, I also love gin martinis, extra dirty, with blue cheese stuffed
Let's
olives.
say blue cheese stuffed olives. Yes. I love blue cheese. Like I know I am known for being a pickle lover around here, which is also very valid because it is 100%
They're
true. I have
good.
like 4 jars of pickles in my fridge at all times. But I love blue cheese, and that's like I'm known for it also around my family. Like my mom stuffs my stockings with just blue cheese, straight blue cheese. So
Oh my
I
god. See,
yeah.
you know, I knew
Each
this podcast was a great idea. We both have these sophisticated palates. We're
yes.
we're better than other people. It
It's
sounds
true.
like,
Olives, pickles, blue cheese. Yeah, like we're in heaven over here.
and I can empathize. I think
I think
that's
that's
the.
right.
I think that's right. Or not relate, but I can understand people being like, "Oh, blue cheese." It's like that's like pretty bizarre to some, but pickles are the best. Like, I mean, that's just like if you don't like pickles, and I sounds like Flake doesn't like pickles.
No, he doesn't. He hates them, and he refuses to even try them. I'm not convinced he's ever had a pickle. Actually, you heard it here first. Blake has never had a pickle before. He just hates them for
Well,
no reason.
I'm gonna just trap him in Vegas and just shove one right.
That's what I said. Is I'm gonna bring pickles to Vegas, and I'm also gonna take him out to a bar, and we're gonna do picklebacks, right? So
Ooh.
Jameson with pickle, and that's a nice introductory to pickles. If you were like 21 and plus.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
right. Right.
I don't know what goes on in Canada. They use kilometers. It's all
Yeah,
wacky up there. He'll figure it out. But thank you again, Elaine. This was a lot of fun, and everybody, please have a good week.